We got image, image, and more image this week on Top of the Stack. So this week on Top of the Stack, we're covering 3 comics, 2 from me, 1 from Jess, and no recommendations other than that. So, first up, I read Outcast number 11 by Robert Kirkman, art by Paul Azaceta, and colors by Elizabeth Brittweiser. This one, I know you haven't been keeping up on this series.
I did read this one,
You did read this one. Starts off with Satan, which I'm assuming is Satan. I don't know for sure. But he's talking to the Reverend. Basically, he's telling him about Kyle and how he shouldn't mess with Kyle anymore. It's his last warning. And I really like the sentence where he says, "I'm not afraid of you, the Lord's watching." And as this Satan guy walks away, he says, "But what if he isn't?" I just thought that was really sinister and dark, and it would make perfect for the show, you know? Just be a perfect shot. Then we go back. What?
We are devil worshippers.
Of course. I mean, anybody who likes stuff like this worships the devil. I mean, it's just fair game.
Yeah.
Not to mention my pentagram tattoo across my entire back. But then we go back to basically the end of last week where Kyle's at his wife's house. And he got in a confrontation with her, but he's still sitting there. His sister comes to get him. And this is where we get a deep connection with the characters, where it kind of runs in like a Walking Dead, where you get a lot of characterization, not so much exorcising demons and creepy demon shit. It's more, let's get to know these characters and why they're so fucked up. And that's what this is. It was a good shot scene of his sister trying to get him away and him finally seeing his daughter again. But there is one key element in there that really caught my eye, and that's this whole time we thought he may have hurt his daughter, but his daughter says, "Why can't you come around here anymore, Dad?" Is it because Mommy got scary? So it wasn't the daughter, it was the wife that apparently was possessed. And he doesn't want to talk about the rest of the time. And then we get a glimpse into his sister's husband's house, and the daughter hears a dog and she wants help, and the dad won't help her. And finally he's like, "Fine, I'll go check it out." There's no dog, but there's a good secret at the end of this. It's not a dog, it's something, but you're gonna have to read it. I thought it was a very good issue. It not only had that creepy ending and creepy little scenes here and there, but you got to dive deep into the characters and really get to find out more about them. You being a first-time reader, what did you think about it?
Well, obviously I was lost. I didn't know who anybody was. Didn't know what to make of anything. I thought it was a good issue for what it was, but, you know, to me it wasn't really anything because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
so
you weren't connected to any of that.
Yeah.
For this issue, I'm going to give it a Christian Bale. I really like the art is always really good as usual. The colors by Elizabeth Brittweiser are really good as well, and the story's picking up. It's something that you're really getting to know these characters, where I used to really want more demon stuff. Now the characterization is really making it top notch, so it's getting a Christian Bale from me.
All right.
What are you giving it as a first time reader?
I guess a Michael Keaton.
Okay, so it is getting a Christian Bale and a Michael Keaton from Geek'd Up. What do we have next on the menu?
We Stand on Guard number 2 by Brian K. Vaughan. Art by Stephen Scroce.
Colors by Hollingsworth.
Hollingsworth.
Yeah.
Okay. So we jump in. We see Canadians are preparing for a fight. You'll never guess who they're trying to fight, though.
You're really trying to fight?
The Americans. Anyways, they go back to their hideout, which we're assuming is in some kind of a mountain. We flash to the Americans, and they've captured somebody. I don't think we know who it is.
Yeah.
They capture him, and he thinks he's been captured for trying to get more water for his crops and for his family. So that tells us that Americans ration water out to people. It's not just flowing freely.
Well, it was until they took over Canada for their water. But yeah.
So he thinks that's why he's getting arrested. Turns out he was arrested because apparently he was supplying, they say he was supplying Canadians with weapons. So they arrest him for treason, I guess you'd say. Flashback to the Canadians. Canadians are doing a cleanup detail, cleaning up all their mess from taking the big, what would you call it?
That big, just
machine.
mech. Yeah.
Big mech. And we see Chief is out there. And she gets shot. Chief gets shot. And she's...
Spoilers.
Yeah, no, I feel bad. I felt bad saying that immediately.
It's alright. It's been out a week.
But there's more to come. She got shot, that's all I'm gonna say. And she gets taken somewhere. I didn't care for this one. No.
See, I saw a whole lot more going on. It starts out with the American terrorists basically just being terrible to the Canadian citizens at these elderly people's house.
Well, it was a flashback.
Yeah, where they're beating them, and it shows just how violent Americans were when they were doing this takeover. And we find that our protagonist and her brother are hiding in those people's doghouse. So apparently they were housing them as well and taking care of them. We also get to see that Amber, who is the main girl, is blindfolded by these people when she gets taken to their base because they still don't trust her.
Well, the less she knows, the better.
Yeah, like if she gets taken
captured.
in, they come to her and they say, hey, Chief and LePage are missing. And she immediately says, well, let's go get our guys. She's letting them know, hey, I'm on your side. Let's go do this. And then that's where we flash into that ending scene. She was shot, but you don't. That's not the whole spoiler. More happens right after that, so you got to read it to find out. But overall, I personally give it a Christian Bale. I really like the issue. I thought it told us a lot about the Americans and a lot about the Canadians. But so, what do you give it?
And I give it a George Clooney.
We stand on guard number 2, getting a Christian Bale and a George Clooney from Geek'd Up Podcast. And last on top of the stack is Nailbiter number 15 by Joshua Williamson, art by Mike Hernandez, and colors by Adam Guzmao. I'm getting that name wrong. I know it, and I apologize. It starts out with Agent Crane as a kid in a flashback talking to her mother, upset that Nailbiter, Eddie, has left her, but she also says, there's something I need to tell you. And I think she's going to tell her about his obsession with horror and serial killers and stuff like that. We don't ever really learn that in this issue, but actually I think we do. And I'm going to flash forward to that later. It just clicked what that is all about. So anyway, we flash forward Alice, the girl they found in the other one who got stabbed at the end of last issue. She's bleeding on the ground, and the Nailbiter said he's going to help him get out of there. He's going to show them the way, start going. They come across this like slaughter cave full of dead people, and here comes the killer. So they dive under the bodies. Killer comes in, does what a killer does, starts slashing at the bodies. Fortunately, they didn't get any of those. And then the killer's leaving, and the Nailbiter does what we think the Nailbiter should do, and he's going to lure that killer away from them so they can all get away. In this exchange, he gets caught, he gets beaten, and they tell him, the guy says, hey, you know what'll happen if these people find out about the truth. Millions are going to die. So now it's like, what the hell is really going on in this town?
Yep.
So in the meantime, we don't really know what happens to him. But the other people do escape. They do get to safety. He's told that the Bureau's going to take over. He's no longer on the case. And seeing as the Nailbiter, Warren the Nailbiter, is no longer alive or he's missing, no one knows the truth. But the end, something does happen. We do find out the truth. And you really have to stick around for that. But the one thing I just found out talking about this is she goes, I'm going with her. She's my daughter. And you never knew that. She was going to tell her mom she's pregnant by Warren. I guarantee you we're going to find out in a future issue that is Nailbiter's kid. And that's why she's so... I never even thought about that till right now.
Jeez, Cory.
Look for a further issue. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. But anyway, overall, I love this issue. Art on par, as usual. Story is really kicking off. We're getting a lot of more questions, but it's also... we are getting some answers, but the questions that we now have are really interesting questions. So I give this one a Christian Bale. What did you think about it, and what are you giving it?
First time reader, Michael Keaton. Not even knowing much, I did read the first issue. I thought, oh, well, this is kind of interesting. Unlike, what was the other one?
We Stand on Guard. The other one we read was Outcast.
Yeah, see, like, this issue for Nailbiter was one that kind of gets you hooked on. And then, whereas Outcast was more, if you've been into it, then it's a good issue.
Yeah, you really had to know what's going on in Outcast,
Yeah.
So, Nailbiter number 15 is getting a Christian Bale and a Michael Keaton from the Geek'd Up podcast. That's it for Top of the Stack, our weekly comic review. Make sure you find us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekeduptv or on Twitter at twitter.com/geekeduptweets. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll get back to each and every one of you. And until next time, stay geeked up and always hug a xenomorph.
Always.
Scott Lang, I'm a thief by trade. Didn't plot my thieving well. Now I'm locked up and enslaved. Gotta change my ways, get past this. If not for me, then Cassie. That's why Hank Pym asked me to take the torch, do a B&E. Now I have me a sick suit, lets me change my size. I got super strength, can talk to ants with a helmet I apply. I'll ride out to the hideout of my buddy Ants that fly.